Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services in Eastland, Texas. Tune in every week as we share important information to help you and your family live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, legacy and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
Welcome into Life Planning 101. My name is Angela Robinson with Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services out of the thriving metropolis of Eastland, Texas, and Three Forks, Montana. And we have a special guest this week. This is a gentleman I have known, close to 15 years now. And I tell you what, the way he thinks, the way he literally believes about the industry being all education falls right in line with what we do every week right here on Life Planning 101, which is to help inform you, empower you, so that you can make wise decisions about your future. And he does the same thing. He's been doing this for over 40 years. So yes, he has a few years on me. And I think he's been doing podcast and radio for over 30. So absolutely phenomenal. We're so blessed to be able to have this being shared on Life Planning 101. Without further ado, Jim Silvernagel, and don't hold this against him, he is a Packer out of Kewaskum, Wisconsin.
Well, welcome, everybody. We have a repeat guest with us today, David Blake. In the past, we've talked a lot with him about disability income insurance and, the different types of insurance for employees, employers, and things like that. But we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about something more important, in my estimation, and that's giving back. And I've known David probably now for at least 10 years. We met raising funds for a foundation that we both care about that supports worthy causes throughout the world. We both served on the board of that organization. It's called the MDRT Foundation. They donate over $1 million a year, every year, and have supported so many worthy causes. And I think that was a springboard for David because now he's got involved in an organization that they've gotten involved with ukuleles. And the reason that clicked is my wife and my daughter have a ukulele band, You Crazy, and that kind of created a bond with us that went beyond just the work that we did at the foundation. And I really believe, giving back is so rewarding, as I know you do, David. So I thought we'd spend a little time talking about your journey of getting involved in that stuff and give people a chance to maybe think about what worthy causes would they want to be involved in. And, we live in the greatest country in the world, despite everything the news tells us and all the political crap that's going on all over the place. We still live in the greatest country of the world, and we can make such an impact locally, globally, that goes way beyond just what we ourselves are doing. And so, David, I really appreciate you taking time to share your passion today.
Thank you so much, Jim. It's a thrill to be here. And I would tell you 10 years ago, if you and I are saying we're going to be sitting around talking about ukuleles, I don't think we would have been betting on that as happening.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
It's good. I never saw this coming either. Our work with our association, the $1 Million Roundtable Foundation, we are privileged, as you know, to give grants to charities to help try to improve the human condition. And a number of years ago, I met some charities, and I had this opportunity to deliver a grant to a music therapist at a children's hospital. And you hear about music therapy, you wonder what that's all about, but you have no idea. And I had the privilege of going with this music therapist who has a specialty in working in the neonatal intensive care unit and with children suffering from, serious health, concerns, to see how music is used to either help with their vital signs, bring joy to the parents, create distraction. And I see everyone playing ukuleles. I mean, what is this about? What is this about? And I learned that the ukulele is such an appropriate instrument to be used because it doesn't get in the way of the IV poles. It doesn't get in the way of the IV lines. It's transportable. It's easy to learn. There's so many advantages of it. And music therapists use this as an instrument that they really involve children with around the country. But what I also learned, which really frustrated me, is the great majority of music therapists in our country are funded purely by grants. The ratio of music therapists to patients is abominable. There's literally, I met a hospital in my travels in Texas where there are 2 music therapists for 1,000 children in a hospital. I met a group in Hawaii where 1 music therapist has enough money for 10 hours a month for 60 kids. So I said, let's do something here. And I had some spare time. And as you know, I'm a little driven. When I see something, I just don't let go. They sort of kid around and call me the toothless pit bull. You don't feel it, but I latch on. I do not let go. And so I said, I'm going to do something about it. And I had met some Hawaiian ukulele master musicians and some music therapists, and we put our heads together and said, what can we do? And we came up with this initiative that would provide access to instruments, to provide access to musicians in hospitals, and to try to raise money for music therapists to provide more of their services to whether it be children, adults in nursing homes, veterans, firefighters, whomever it may be. And so we call this thing the Kanikapila Project. Kanikapila is a Hawaiian word simply which means jam session. The idea of people not listening, but people just playing and contributing, and that if anyone's ever played in a band or a sing-along around a campfire, there's a lot of wellness that builds up in your heart when you sing and you engage with people. So we've been focusing on doing is creating these engagement opportunities. Started this a couple of years ago, and it's taken off. We have been working with choirs from a Christian academy in Ohio. We've been going to work with veterans in New York City, veterans and Navy SEALs up in New York State. We've been actually doing a lot of work in Hawaii lately. Hawaii has been something where I really have an affinity for and a love for the people and the culture there. And I've been doing fundraising for Kapilani Medical Center for Women and Children, which is the largest children's hospital in not just Hawaii, but the entire Pacific Rim. And they want to fund a music therapy program. So we've been doing live concerts and performances there and there as well. But what really, really struck a chord with me, and what I'm really so blessed to be in a position to do, is this past summer, as we all know, there were horrible fires in Maui. There's horrible fires in Lahaina, where 6,700 people are still living in hotel shelters to this day. And we saw what happened, and we said, how can we respond to this? And so with my music therapy friends, we talked to music therapists that were involved with the Newtown shootings in Sandy Hook, people involved with Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Ian, to say, how do we respond to communities that have suffered from trauma? And we talked to a lot of music therapists about how to approach them, when to approach them, what not to do. And we were told that we were given some direction. And the first thing we were told is give them space, give them time. So I'm in Oahu at the end of August. I'm talking to some of my music therapy friends, and we got introduced to a doctor, pediatrician, a wondrous soul, Dr. Felicia Livaday from Kaiser Permanente in Maui. And we called Feli as she goes by, and we said, so Feli, we're here to help. She's like, oh, we need you here now. Like, that's totally counter what we were told, okay? And what we realized is that the Hawaiian culture is based upon music. Everybody has a ukulele, or I'm going to say ukulele. Everyone has an instrument. And not only did they learn their homes, their businesses, their clothes, they lost their instruments. And so this culture there has been deprived of playing music. People have lost their homes. They're living in shelters. People are withdrawing. So what we did is we built a three-pronged initiative. We said, let's do 3 things. Step 1 is let's replace instruments. And we've been fundraising. We've now replaced close to 250 instruments now in the first 3 months in Maui. 2, we met people from the governor's office of what's called Wellness and Resiliency in the Department of Health. One of the biggest and greatest concerns they have about what's happening in Maui is that people living in hotels are not coming out of their rooms. People withdrawing, mental illness could happen, depression, suicidal thoughts can happen. People have no hope. They've lost everything, and they're in their rooms. And so what we realize that music can bring people out of their rooms. Music can get people to talk to people. And so with the promotion and support and collaboration of the Office of Wellness and Resiliency, we now are running weekly jam sessions, Kanikapila, in all the hotel shelters, or a lot of hotel shelters in Maui. We've also employed local music teachers because we have to make sure that we cannot generationally trigger what's gone on there. The history of Hawaii is about displacement and loss, with people who come from off-island taking their land, taking their culture. We have to make sure that what we build stays local. So we've been building local initiatives there. And now we have ongoing music education for people living there on a weekly basis. We now also are looking at a third tier component because music in itself can create what's called a therapeutic music experience. It can resonate. You know, if you're singing with a friend, a college fight song, your favorite football song, something, Sweet Caroline, whatever it may be, it's a connection to your emotions. And so what we're looking to do is create emotional contact, but then also now build music therapists to go in there to tell people who are really in a bad way. So now we're working music therapists in the Hawaiian government to identify curriculum that we can bring to Maui locally. And in 4 months, this thing has gone from this idea to a standing call with a committee of 20 people with online registration, free instruments, working with direction from the government, purely to bring wellness to the people in Maui. We also do a lot of work with first responders. And one of the issues and populations I want to get to in Maui are the people, the first responders, the soldiers who were there during the fires. I've heard tales of what they've seen about side view mirrors being melted off. People, if you've seen on the shows, almost dying. 2,000 structures burned to the ground in a heartbeat. These men and women, much like where I'm from in New York City, they're experiencing the emotional trauma of what was experienced in 9/11 in New York City. And I actually work with an organization called Friends of Firefighters, which is for firefighters and first responders who suffer from emotional trauma based on what they've experienced. We actually built a ukulele group with these firefighters that's called the Aloha Brigade. And now the Aloha Brigade is introducing us to Navy SEAL organizations who are now introducing us to organizations in Hawaii to bring music, not just to the children and the adults, but also as a therapeutic way to gain voice and resonance for the first responders who bravely sacrificed their lives in Hawaii. So I don't know how I find myself here. It's a little nutty, a little crazy, but it is so rewarding and so gratifying to know that there's a parent there whose child is going through a god-awful opportunity to give them a chance to smile in a hospital, for a parent to see their child happy, for a veteran who's suffering from what he's seen or she's seen, experienced, to find a way for voice, to give resonance to what their feelings are, and to give people in Maui who've lost everything the opportunity to find some connection with other people and to find a way to find their voice, to play, to give them a distraction, and to give them something to look forward to on a weekly basis. So this is sort of where I am right now. I'm not sure where we're going. We're staying with the United States right now. We've been contacted by some groups, both in Canada and in Europe. We've got enough on our plate here in the United States, and we're building right now what's called the Kanikapila Network, which is a network of ukulele players who are willing to lend their time to local hospitals. Or if there's a ukulele player who comes to their area out of a hospital, or as we know, Give Kids the World Village, if a kid comes back from there. We want to build this national network of people just want to play and share the joy of human experience and music through this simple little instrument called the ukulele.
That's awesome, David. And I want to take a short break. When we come back, I want to explore a little bit more about the difference that makes when you're making a difference. So please stay tuned. Welcome back as we continue to visit with David Blake. And, you know, one thing that I was thinking about in the first part of our interview is you talked about all these people that are suffering emotionally, mentally. And one thing that I think is really lacking in our healthcare system is mental health. It's kind of swept under the rug. And what you're doing is so powerful because there's not a lot of resources when it comes to that. And just shedding a little light can make the difference for so many people. So one thing I want to ask you, because there's a lot of people are probably listening and they feel like they want to do something, but they don't know what to do. And they don't feel like, you know, I'm involved in a thing called Main Street Philanthropy, where we're teaching kids on giving back. And the thing is, when they see, you know, someone like Bill Gates, you know, claiming that he's going to give $90 million to this or $100 million, they feel like, well, if I'm just going to give $5, it doesn't even matter. What I do can't matter when these people are doing so much. And what you look at is if you talk to the people that are involved with these charities, you know, they will say the vast majority of the money that comes in is from those $5 donors.
Yep.
And it's the volunteers that make it go around. The people that come in with their parades, you know, and write out this big check and then you never see them again, that impact is fleeting. So talk a little bit, David, about, first of all, you know, what has this giving back done for you personally? Because there's three ways people can get involved or give. One is, volunteering your time. That can go further than any cash gift because they need boots on the ground is one of the most important fundamental things to any charitable organization. So giving of time, giving of talent. Now, Dave, you've run a national organization for years, and now those organizational skills are coming to light as you're helping to build this network that's doing so many wonderful things. And then there's always treasure. I mean, at the end of the day, money helps make the world go around. So you got time, talent, and treasure. You may not have all three things to give, but any one of those things can make a difference. And maybe share a little bit about, how your involvement has made a difference for you personally. What have you gotten out of it?
I think that what I have been involved with has permanently altered the direction of my life and my DNA. The ability to give to others, the privilege to give to others, creates this self-reinforcing loop of gratitude. You get this feeling I've done something meaningful on this planet. It's not I've sold another policy or I've taken another vacation. I made this place a little bit better for somebody else. Provides a sense of gratitude and accomplishment and satisfaction that is just astounding. And to your point, Jim, I am the biggest fan in the world of founders of small charities. You see these big charities on TV. There are so many people in our country selflessly giving their time, their talents and treasures, their life's energy, their life's direction to help other people. And these people, $5 matters, $10 matters. Just that attaboy matters. And to the point, I met a woman some years ago. She was starting a culinary education center for refugees and victims of human trafficking, a little pop-up in Red Hook, Brooklyn. She now has a restaurant in Carroll Gardens, Brooklyn. She's down in Washington, D.C. But I remember her telling me the story about, the young boy standing on the beach, throwing starfish back into the ocean after a big storm?
Yeah.
I love that story because, this big storm happens in this coastal town, and this elderly man comes out in the morning to see what's happened, and he looks down on the beach down below in the bluffs. He sees a little boy walking along the beach, picking up all these starfish that have somehow been blown into the sand because of the storm. And the little boy would bend down, throw one, bend down, throw one. And the old man walked down there and said to the little boy, young man, what are you doing? And he said, don't you know what you're doing is meaningless? And the little boy looks at the old man and bends down, picks up the starfish and throws it back in the water. And he said, it meant something to that one. So I think that, what does Roosevelt say? Do what you can with what you have where you are. And so no matter what you think you can or cannot do is true. But there are people out there. You talk to anybody, everybody, restaurant workers, they work in charities. There's a charity everywhere in your community. Find something that matters to you and say, I have a skill set that may be of benefit to you, or how can I help you? They welcome that. These are human beings that are really giving all their time and talents. And when you do that, we have helped save homeless people in New York. I've raised donor drives for clothes for people getting out of prison in the dead of winter in New York City during the pandemic because we're trying to shut prisons down to reduce the pandemic rate. We just helped a charity in Kenya build latrines, the first working latrines in a camp for blind elementary school children in Kenya. You get to do these things. How in the world don't you want to do more of it? So for me, if you reach a point that you're privileged to have the distance, the time, the ability, the staff who understands that this matters to you, that by you doing this, you're better for them. Oh yeah. $5, $50, 1 hour, 10 hours, everything is grateful to these organizations. And find something that matters to you, that's authentic to you, and just give them a call and say, hey, how could I help? Be quiet and listen to what they have to say.
And there's no bigger reward than when you give back. And you
Surely
cannot give what you get back in return from it.
Yep. I actually give this lecture called The Unanticipated Benefits of Giving. I get back tenfold from every moment I give to these charities. And frankly, you meet these amazing people too. And sometimes you get to be invited to very special opportunities, or you really see firsthand what you have done and the gratitude that they have for this. So it makes you, we in our association, right, the whole $1 Million Roundtable talk about being whole people, right, the whole person concept. Part of it's giving back to our communities, and you find this in every religious discipline as well, giving back. And this really, for me, I've just found my way. And frankly, the $1 Million Roundtable Foundation has made this possible for me. And I'm just saying, let's explore what can we do. And it's just so much fun. So much fun.
That's awesome. And then one last thing, David, if someone wants to be involved in the Kanikapila Project, I hope I said that right.
Good saying that. You did well. You've done well. Absolutely.
So whether they want to get involved, time, talent, or treasure, is there a website or something they can go to get more information?
Absolutely. It's kanikapilaproject.org. It's Kanikapila, which actually Kanikapila, which means let the music sound, if you break it phonetically, but kanikapilaproject.org. We're grateful for any help. If you're a musician, you want to play, you want to jam, you're a music therapist, you want to learn more. We're actually creating clinical studies now to build curriculums to teach music therapists how to play. We're a volunteer organization, just having a lot of fun with music and trying to make some people smile out there.
Oh, David, this has been awesome visiting with you. And, I would encourage anybody. I mean, I'm involved in a few different organizations as well as you are. And one thing you got to learn is you can't save the world. You can't do everything and be all things to all people. But if you pick something that you're passionate about and get involved at any level that you can, it is something that is very rewarding, and words can't express what kind of feeling that gives you when you do that. So I would encourage everybody to reach out, whether it's to David's organization or another organization you're passionate about, and find out what you can do to help this world will be a better place.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jim, very much.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services. If you have questions, you can email them to lifeplanning@kennedy-financial.com. Be sure to tune in next week for more Life Planning 101. The opinions expressed herein are those of the firm and are subject to change without notice. The opinions referenced are as of the date of publication and are subject to change due to changes in the market or economic conditions and may not necessarily come to pass. Any opinions, projections, or forward-looking statements expressed herein are solely those of the author, may differ from the views or opinions expressed by other areas of the firm, and are only for general informational purposes as of the date indicated. Securities offered through Calton & Associates Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Smart Money Group LLC. Kennedy Financial Services and Smart Money Group LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by Calton & Associates Incorporated.